Hey yo, what's good everyone? It's your boy the Light Gamer, man. I'm back to another reaction video here. If you guys are new, drop a like, subscribe below, man. I appreciate it. We're gonna be reacting to Victor Wembanyama. Just broke the NBA by AM Hoops. It's gonna like this, man, and let's check this out. Hope you guys enjoy. Give me your thoughts and opinions if you do end up watching the whole thing. So let's get it.
Not only did the Spurs beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, Victor Wembanyama personally took the soul of their two best players. First, Chet Holmgren can't even show his face in Oklahoma City anymore. We called it out on this channel after game 2, but things only got worse. How does a man score 4 points and take 2 shots in 32 minutes as an All-NBA player? If Chet turns into a 7-foot James Harden against Wemby in the playoffs, Thunder are going to have a real problem. But the other victim of Wemby was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, he had a good game 7, but Wemby, the no doubt best player in the world now over this man. Fact is, he could not solve what the Spurs and Wemby threw at him until it was too late. The flopping, man's taken down a notch until further notice. But I said multiple times that a team this young cannot win the NBA Finals, and that's still true. But man, are the Spurs looking to crush that trend. Right now, Spurs are favored to beat the Knicks in the finals and a gigantic 5.5-point favorite to win game 1. But the last time a team who had never won a playoff series before did this was the 95 Orlando Magic, led by another big man, 22-year-old Shaq, like Wemby, in his 3rd season like Wemby. But after a very close game 1, Orlando got swept in the finals. But here's the thing, that was to the defending champion Houston Rockets with a top 10 all-time Hakeem Olajuwon. And props to the Knicks, but they are not the 95 Rockets. So did the Spurs just pass the big test? Is that why Wemby and his crew broke down crying after game 7? Actually, the experts are all picking the Knicks. We'll get to that, but the Spurs did expose the Oklahoma City Thunder. But the playoffs have been amazing. The only way I know to make these games even more fun is by getting my picks in on Prize Picks. Winning cash is a bonus for.
All right, my man. Let's go about right here.
Okay, so he didn't have 2 crucial players. Obviously, Jalen Williams, J-Dub was out, but that's been the case all year long, and they still won 64 games, swept 2 rounds of the playoffs. But the other guy was A.J. Mitchell. So A.J. really broke out as the Thunder's 2nd best ball handler. Without him and J-Dub to play make, the load all on SGA. So for the series, man dipped a bit scoring, but his efficiency was god-awful. Spurs took the MVP from 55% shooting in the regular season to 40%, from 39% on 3 to 29%. That's not MVP, barely all-star. But how did they do it? Well, the Spurs have elite one-on-one defenders on the perimeter, through double teams at SGA. Oh, but if he could somehow manage to get around all that,
I watched that.
The best paint defender in the world is waiting at the rim. And all of that forced SGA into a lot of tough, low efficiency, rushed mid-range shots, even for him. Or just the flop. And certain media members started telling people to shut up. You don't know about basketball. Like Chris Mannix telling people, oh, all the SGA slander is just becoming corny. Like, don't you know that he finished 4th in free throw attempts on a team that was 17th? Yeah, but nobody cares about the stats when we can see with our eyes he's not trying to score. SGA obviously just trying to get Vassell to.
Bro, that shot right there, dude. When I was watching that live, I was like, bro, what was that? Dude.
Jump so that he can bump into him and draw a foul. It's not basketball. So stop trying to convince people otherwise. But about those stats, a guy named Tom Habistro, one of my favorites, saw a clip where SGA is just falling on every play, right? So he decided to track the falls. Because you can't track flops, it's subjective, right? You can track falls that either get a whistle or don't get a whistle. But whistle or no whistle, all shots, SGA flops like a fish more than any other star in the conference finals. In fact, look at fouled shots. Hits the deck 50% of the time to get a whistle. James Harden couldn't even dream of that number. He's 29%. But again, SGA was very good in game 7. Cannot say the same about Chet Holmgren. Now, I made an entire video about this and the background of it, but the bottom line, if this is going to be that 10-plus year rivalry that we all think it might be, right, going back and forth, that goes out the window. If one of OKC's big three is afraid of the other team, like Sam Presti did a genius job building this squad, right? SGA, Chet, J-Dub are about to get paid, but that's not a problem because they got deep role players cycle through with all their draft picks. A genius plan for the second apron era. But it's all screwed up if Chet is suddenly a 0 against your main rival. We have seen a couple of times in NBA history a good player have like a weird mental block nobody can explain. It ruins careers. Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons, Chet Holmgren. But what we do know for sure about San Antonio, they are way more than a one-man team, right? Like, that's obvious. It's not Victor Wembanyama and role players. Okay, the front office took Wemby, right, and perfectly executed the rebuild around him. First of all, in a 2024 redraft, Stephon Castle clearly goes number 1. Now, somebody out there might say, oh, but Alex Sarr is unique for his size. Yes, but Castle just played like a superstar to make the NBA Finals, which would be the point of Alex Sarr's potential, to hopefully become Castle. And do you remember the backlash to getting Dylan Harper? The experts saying, oh, they don't have shooting. Con Knipple would be so much better of a fit for this team. Well, look at man cooking SGA for one of the most clutch threes of this series. And not to mention his assist to Stephon Castle, holding his teammate back from kicking Alex Caruso's butt and getting kicked out of the game. But role players, I mean, nobody even wanted Julian Champagnie. Remember when the Sixers waived him to sign Mac McClung for the dunk contest? All he did was score 20 points, hit 6 threes in a game 7. Spurs front office amazing. But the MVP is obviously Victor Wembanyama. His defense changes everything about how basketball is played. Even if man scored like 15 a game, he's still the clear MVP. But speaking of offense, that will be very interesting in the NBA Finals. Spurs move on to the New York Knicks, who are on a roll. In fact, Knicks won their last 11 playoff games by a historic 262 total points. Never been done before. Now, were the opponents weak? This is the East, right? They swept the Sixers, who were just happy to be there. Cavs look shaky all postseason, and you know it. Or are the Knicks actually that good? We're about to find out against Wemby and MSG. Dude, the Knicks have been good again for a very short amount of time. Already, though, given us some of the most memorable series because of their home crowd. The level of villain we saw Trae Young become, Tyrese Halliburton, and now we get Wembanyama. I cannot wait to see him step onto that stage. You know he is going to create some all-time moments, win or lose. It is going to be so much fun, but it will be hard to top what we just saw because somehow we're about to have 8 different NBA champs in 8 years. Will it be the inexperienced Spurs or the underdog Knicks for their first title in 53 seasons? So I keep on going off about how the Shaq Magic made it to the finals in 95 and got swept, right? Okay. What about the guys who were super young and did make it to the finals and did win, right? So you've got Magic in 1980, who was a rookie and he won Rookie of the Year. Finals MVP. And he lost Rookie of the Year to Larry Bird. Whatever, that was a weird tangent because I misspoke. Kareem won in 1971 in his second year in the league. Tim Duncan won in 1999 in his second year in the league. And Bill Russell won in the 1950s, I think 1957 as well, okay? Random, right? But here's the thing about all of them. Magic had Kareem, okay? And Kareem was, in 1980, like the undisputed best player in the world. So imagine, Magic may have won in his first year with the best player in the world on his team. Kareem, 1971, won in his second year on the Bucks. Awesome, right? He had Oscar Robertson right next to him, who's one of the greatest players of all time in his 10th year. So this guy wasn't just a vet. He was like a, superstar all-star vet, okay?
And he was the youngest?
Tim Duncan had David Robinson. Now, David was not at his peak, but he was MVP 4 years before. Who was MVP 4 years before right now? Nikola Jokic. Imagine having Nikola Jokic on your team, except Jokic doesn't really count because he won before SGA 3 years ago. So let's just say Giannis. Giannis hadn't won in a while, right? But it would be like having Giannis on your team. Maybe even a couple of years older. So Tim Duncan's great, but it's not a perfect comparison. Bill Russell in the 1950s had Bob Cousy. All right, okay, great. But my point is, we've never, ever seen this before. And the thing is, it's like we should have seen this coming, I guess, Because remember when Adrian Wojnarowski, he said on ESPN, I don't know if you guys remember this, it was shocking. At the time he said, Victor Wembanyama is the greatest prospect of all time, which would mean that he was a better prospect than Wilt Chamberlain, Lou Alcindor, LeBron, all of them, right? And it's like, oh my God. And someone like Woj doesn't just say that. And the thing is that things are so rarely as good as advertised. How often did we hear blank is the next LeBron? You know, I remember Andrew Wiggins actually was a big one, dude. I forget what draft he was, 2014, 2015.
I mean, the points he's making, though, is Wemby's young, bro. And to be honest, who knows? Wemby could end up getting a championship here and maybe even 2 more. But, I mean, it's early to say for sure.
Something like that. Andrew Wiggins was the next LeBron, okay? Ben Simmons then was the next LeBron. Zion Williamson, I don't know if he was the next LeBron, but like his hype. Wemby has come in and been better than advertised. People are going to hate him, okay? That's the one thing. Is like we always see people get built up on a pedestal and then knocked down. Every time, without fail, okay? It doesn't matter how loved you are. Luka's a great example.
Yeah, they're right, dude. I see the hate for Wemby already, like when it was OKC fans, and then when I forgot who Spurs recently played before OKC. I can't remember right now, but just to me that's crazy. On top of that, like just like the hate they give Wemby, on top of that saying he's so tall, it's not an excuse, bro. Even tall or not, he's able to shoot threes like he does. Is really dangerous. And like the Joker, everyone talks smack, calling him the giraffe, but it's like, come on, bro. Like,
Super Flag eventually. Who's another guy? Dude, they're all good examples, okay? We build them up and knock them down. I remember a couple years ago thinking there's no way the Thunder are going to be hated. There's nothing to hate about this team. I remember thinking that a couple of years ago. And now they're like, when's the last time that they were more hated? Really funny thing on the internet last night was people were saying SGA is reaching LeBron level hate when he went to Miami Heat. And people were sharing examples of how, no, LeBron's hate's 10 times worse than SGA. And one of them was like, my grandma who doesn't watch basketball hated LeBron James. And another one was that, this is so random, Osama bin Laden's translator was like, Osama bin Laden's translator, I don't know. Apparently he was pissed off at LeBron James in Guantanamo Bay. What the I don't know. Anyway, the point is that they are hated. Everyone gets hated. Everyone gets hated. That's my point. Yep. And that by the way, Wemby's actually kind of hateable, low-key hateable. First of all, he's extremely arrogant, which is fine, dude. Like, I don't think that you can be 20, 21, 22 years old and have all this praise heaped on you and not have some imposter syndrome when maybe you are stepping up to be the best player in the world and actually execute on it, unless you actually do have that weird confidence, you know what, I am the best. Like, that just comes hand in hand with it. You cannot have one shred of doubt in yourself to achieve what he's achieved at this age, okay? There cannot be a 1% of imposter syndrome, bro. He's like, no. I'm not an imposter. I am here, and I deserve it. They say I might be the GOAT. I am the GOAT, okay? So I think that level of arrogance or confidence is necessary to achieve, to be who he is. Like, you cannot have...
Okay, that's expected, though, man. He's young. He's a young player, so... I mean, I already get that. He's, like you said, he's 22 years old. The arrogance is going to be there. He's not gotten wisdom yet or... gotten wise. He will. You will be like, I wish I wasn't like that before. When he gets older, or things will change. So
one without the other, okay? But at the same time, we don't like that because there's something inside of us that's like, he thinks he's better than me. You know what I mean? Like, what? Oh, you're hot stuff, huh? Okay. And then just people hate it. It's just an absolute, human nature. Okay, we're all gonna hate him for that. I guarantee it. And then there was a thing when he was whispering in Bismack Biyombo and Mason Plumlee's ear, and right after they came into the game, hard fouls on Jared McCain. Jared McCain's a whole nother thing. Sixers, what? But there were 2 different lip reads I saw of that. One of them, which was that main lip reader on the internet, I don't know if you remember, you know this guy. He said that Wemby said, have fun out there, or have fun. Someone else read it and he said, hard foul, hard foul. Okay? But, I mean, did they know? They both knew hard foul. They knew he was talking about Jared McCain? Would it be hard foul, Jared McCain? I don't know. But either way, dude, my point is, like, we are looking for reasons to hate Wemby, and people will hate Wemby. But last thing I want to touch on is San Antonio's back in the finals already? How is this possible, dude? And it looks like by the way, for the last 8 years, we've been like, is this a potential dynasty? Is this the Nuggets, dynasty, Celtics? Okay, we're doing it again. We're going to say the Spurs are a potential dynasty, so what? But like, for the San Antonio market, it is weird, dude. Most teams, most cities, when they have a dynasty, you don't see another dynasty ever, or like for 50 years, okay?
Yeah.
Like, the one I always love to use is the Milwaukee Bucks. They had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar win a championship, maybe could do more than that in the 70s. And they had to wait all the way to the 2010s to get another guy like that in Giannis. They had to wait 50 years, okay? And
damn.
What's another example? The Warriors in the 1970s, late 60s had Rick Barry. By the way, Rick Barry, okay, he's not exactly Kareem, but he won a championship. And they had Wilt for a minute, but they had to wait another like 40 plus years until they got Steph Curry.
Which was
the Spurs had to wait, I don't know how many years between. So Tim retired in 2015 and Victor was drafted in 2023. That's nothing, man. This is like Lakers level dynasty to dynasty.
Yeah.
Only it's San Antonio, the fifth smallest market in the NBA, with the poorest owner in the NBA. If you go look at the net worth rankings, dude, the Spurs are 30th. The owner, Peter Holt, his net worth is $200 million. Yo, Steve Ballmer's $150 billion. That's number one. Can you believe that? By the way, we talk a lot of trash about the second apron. I love this about the second apron, dude. That you can have a team like that. You know why? It levels the playing field to where what you need is smart. You need a smart front office and a good culture below them, right? One thing that Greg Popovich always said, he's obviously still intimately involved in the franchise. One thing Pop always said was, they would be like, man, I have a cough, by the way. They would be like, Pop, you guys really know how to make them, just you bring out the most unselfish selfish things. Your culture, it's so great. Everyone's selfless. They sacrifice for the team. How do you do that? He goes, we don't do it. We know we're not going to change anybody. We literally cannot change you. So if you are a problem, if you are selfish, if you are a me basketball guy, we just don't bring you in. That's our secret. That's all it is. We don't care how good you are, what your stats are. If you've got a team-friendly contract, we're not going to sacrifice any of that, right? And you can see it in the guys that they've drafted, dude, yet again.
That's genius, though, because I remember, he said back in 2015 in those years when Tim Duncan and all them dudes were on the Spurs, man, and those dudes were very unselfish as well. They were more of a team-based type of guy, just like you kind of see that with Wemby too. So,
and if a guy was a problem, turned out to be a problem, they got rid of him real quick, right? No matter how good he was. Steven Jackson, Richard Jefferson. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, it's the opposite of soccer, dude. No offense to the soccer fans. I followed soccer for a while. It was fun. But like, what's the secret to winning? Getting a Middle Eastern gajillionaire to buy your team. Great. Awesome. I remember when I started watching soccer, Manchester City was like a joke, but they had like this personality and this culture and this identity, right? Completely changed overnight. I forget what family, I think are they Qatari? They bought them and now all of a sudden they're, it's like, what is that? I mean, it doesn't feel, it feels cheap, right? And apparently, did PSG just win the Champions League? I think they did. Well, no doubt, no crap. I want to say no S. A really rich whatever family bought them too. So I don't know, dude. I just love that about basketball, that we can have a back-to-back like dynasty like this in one of the smallest cities in the country with the poorest owner. Poorest, $200 million. Just because of all the reasons that we talked about. Dude, that is so awesome, okay? But all of the experts are picking the Knicks. I don't want to read you what the Athletics said. And I think it's either East Coast bias or maybe they've all been saying like me that the Spurs are too young so they can't pick the Spurs now, right? And so what ends up happening is you end up like nitpicking and looking for little things. Like if I was to pick the Spurs right now, it would feel weird because they're so young and we've almost never seen it before. Actually, I'm going to go over that in a second. And so since it feels weird, you want to pick the Knicks, you just start to look for reasons why. And this is what The Athletic says. They say, it's such a weird paragraph. The Knicks will win the title because their superb defense, seen throughout the playoffs, is able to stifle the young Spurs. Now, the Spurs will make the Knicks offense look normal, as they have all postseason. But the Knicks have the ability to do the same, but still manufacture enough points. So basically what they're saying is, defense for defense, they're picking the Knicks. What? You would obviously pick the Spurs. We just went over, like, how could you pick the Knicks defense over the Spurs when the Spurs have Victor Wembanyama, the greatest defender in a generation, and then also really good perimeter defenders? Why the heck would you pick the Knicks defense? That's the most random thing I've ever heard. And I think, again, part of it is they're looking for reasons to pick the Knicks because we've almost never seen this before. No, OKC is not going to get Giannis. That's the last thing I want. Come on. Do we really think, was I really going to make a video about that?
Where he's going to go the Heat.
Obviously, OKC is not going to go get Giannis. Okay? By the way, Isaiah Hartenstein did a great job. I'm not going to say he's the Wemby stopper, but dude, Isaiah Hartenstein did about as good as anyone could expect against Victor Wembanyama, okay? And that's going to be one thing, is they don't have Mitchell Robinson, or he broke his pinky because he broke a wall, but he is going to play either way, dude. It's going to be really interesting, but no, they don't. They're not going to get Giannis. Okay, the last video, please go watch this. This is about the lottery. Am I pointing at the video? I don't know. I never know when I'm doing this. The lottery odds. So they're official, but when you took a closer look at them now that they're official, some absolutely crazy unintended consequences are about to happen.
Alrighty, well that is my reaction to Victor Wembanyama just broke the NBA by AM Hoops. Let me know what you guys think, thoughts, opinions on this. A little different video to really react to. We'll see if I do another one, but pretty good. If you're new though, drop a like and subscribe below, man, and I'll catch you guys later with another one next time or soon. I'm Delight, or Delight Gamer, and I'm out. Peace. Later, guys.